Welcome, everybody, or nobody, to Behind the Comics, formally,
Formally.
Inquiring Minds. I'm Hialeah Comic Bro, and as always, I'm accompanied by Conquistadork Javi. What's going on?
Yo, 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 what's going on? Hialeah Comic Bro, it's been a while, man. Glad
This
to
is
be
a
back.
little weird, right?
Yeah.
It was so second nature. We were just every Wednesday, just do it. So now I hope we got to get our feet wet again.
That's right. We're
But
like
I know
treading the YouTube waters again. We're back.
we're newbies again. We're newbies. So, all right. Without further ado, sorry for starting late, but we're having some technical difficulties. It happens. It's not a big deal. And wait up. Before I do that, let me do something real quick and put down my phone.
Geeks and drinks.
Yeah, I got my drink. And without further ado, hey, what's up, Bob? What's up, Steve? All right, let's get it started. And tonight's guest, Comics for Thomas.
Hello, everybody. Thank you
Cheers.
so much for waiting.
No, dude, thank you so much for coming on. We actually were scheduled like a month ago, and life happens. Me and Javi took a little break, and thank you so much for understanding and coming right back for our first show back, man. So I
appreciate it.
We appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for being understanding.
Yeah,
I'm really happy to just finally get to talk to you guys, not just through chats and stuff, right? So it's fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. We got geeks, we got bubs, we got
Bub.
brother. What's up, guys? Thank you so much for watching, tuning in.
Yes.
Thomas.
Yep.
I want to ask you quite a few questions, dude.
Yeah, please.
It's gonna be comic. It's gonna be a lot of comic questions, actually.
Go crazy.
I think me and Javi actually want to ask you about this. Okay. Yep. I'm on Eastern time. Javi's on Pacific time because now he's on the West Coast.
Yeah.
You're on what time?
Atlantic Standard Time.
Atlantic Standard Time.
Yeah.
Where is that in Canada?
Yep. So I'm in St. John, New Brunswick, Canada.
Is that really east? Is that what that is?
Yep. We're in the Maritime provinces.
Oh, wow. And you have a beautiful cat that's just popped in, figured the show was on.
Right? She's just trying to steal the show.
Every time I do, they're just like, they find their way over. So, her mostly.
So you're an hour ahead of Eastern.
Yeah.
Okay, that threw me for a loop when we were going back and forth with the message. Yeah. I go, wait, what the hell's AFT?
AST.
AST. Okay. Yeah, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. No, for sure. That's why I was like, I kind of explained it, and I was like, I wonder if he knows where I'm at, actually, in the time frame. So
you're in Quebec?
No, I'm in New Brunswick.
New Brunswick. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So, have you ever heard of Nova Scotia?
Yes.
I've heard of it, yeah.
Yeah, I'm 4 hours from Nova Scotia, probably 8 hours from Quebec.
Okay. Give me
Canada started as a prison colony for Detroit, probably.
Is there a lot of islands in your area?
They're more towards Prince Edward Island, Newfoundland, stuff like that. So Newfoundland is its own country, and even for the Maritimes, it's ass backwards. So, but there are some islands. I'm not super close to me, but within range.
Have you always lived there?
Yeah, I lived out on the western side of Canada in Calgary for 4 years, but that was like 20. I got back here in 2012, so that was a while ago.
Okay.
But besides that, I was born here and moved out there, and then came back here. So.
Okay, so why do you sound American?
I get that actually a lot. So when I was out, it was crazy because like when I was living out west, people would think that they would ask where I'm from. Like, where are you from? I'm like, I'm from New Brunswick or whatever. And they're like, you don't have the accent. I'm like, well, of course, like you can't tell if you have an accent, like, where you're from.
Right.
But no one could ever get that I was from the Maritimes.
You don't sound.
Yeah, well, my buddy who I was out there with is Vietnamese, and they would look at him and they would go, "He sounds more like he's from the Maritimes than you are." I'm like, "Fuck you."
But it's true, man. You don't sound Canadian at all.
Not at all. Not at all. Hello, Lasso.
You know, what's going on, Lasso?
Yeah.
Dude, I thought you were American and you were just a transplant up to Canada. Honest to God. No, and it's true what you say about the accents. My wife, she's from New York, right? And of course, I hear her accent, but then she tells me about my accent, and I say, I don't got an accent.
You know? Exactly right.
But you don't know. But so, do you say "a"?
I don't. Oh, I do, but not a lot.
Is that a regional thing?
I will notice it a lot, actually, with people around me. You know, it's all A and kitchen parties and stuff like that. And I don't know. I don't really say it a lot, I guess. So I don't know.
I swear you do not sound Canadian.
Maybe I'm adopted and my parents never told me.
But I don't think that would have anything. I mean, you still grew up. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true, right? Yeah, you would think I would get it, but no.
But you know what? Right? What's up, Vancouver? Vancouver doesn't sound. He doesn't have that Canadian. I don't hear it as much either. It's weird.
Yeah,
it's weird.
Yeah, beautiful place Vancouver is. I've been
That's
there.
on the whole other coast, right?
Yeah.
What's up, JLS?
What's going on, JLS? Vancouver, Canada represent.
I know. Exactly. All of a sudden, how long have you been into comics?
Oh, not super long. I first started getting into comics probably a year or two after I got back from out west, so 2014. And that's not collecting. That's just like, you know, getting one or two books off in a pull list and just reading them. And then eventually I started getting into the actual like collecting part, the part that I love right now. It's so crazy.
So how did you get into it in the first place? What drove you to it?
So when I was out west, my buddy Chad, who I met out there, he was always talking about comics, and I had always said like, oh, I always wanted to get into them, but I wasn't into comics as a kid. I always loved the art. I like drawing. I remember having like a Punisher 2099 book, you know, that I begged my mom to buy me because it just had, you know, it just looked cool. Like an old Spawn book. Yeah, exactly, right. There was a Spawn book I remember having, and I always liked G.I. Joe, but I only liked G.I. Joe comics because I loved G.I. Joe toys growing up. So I would just pick random issues. It doesn't even matter. Just like, oh, yeah, I want that when we're at the grocery store. I was like, I want that G.I. Joe. Okay, great, let's get it. Didn't care about the reading order, nothing like that. Grew up really collecting hockey cards. That was my big hobby when I was young, right? So, and then he was always talking about them, and I was like, oh yeah, I'd really like to start reading some. And he was going to lend me some, but then I actually ended up reading a bunch digitally, like online, but like just like you can find websites that read them for free.
Yeah.
Probably wasn't great for my laptop, I think, on some of those sites, but so I would start reading them, and that's when I started reading like the Annihilation Wave, and that's where, you know, Nova and, you know, Guardians of the Galaxy, like those runs. That's why I just love those runs. That's where I fell in love with that character and all those characters, you know, with Thanos, and that was the big thing for me. So I don't know, it's been pretty crazy because I came back here and I kind of got into it, and I was just reading a little bit, and then all of a sudden I was like, okay, like I really enjoy the collecting part of this hobby, the buying and the, you know, you find out about slabs and, you know, values of books and stuff like that. And now I'm just like, it's a huge deep dive, you know, and like much later in my life, like I would have been like, I'm 39 now.
Wow.
So yeah. So, I mean, I've only been really into the hobby for like 6 years, maybe. But like reading before, you know, a couple years before that, because I haven't even been home 10 years. So I guess
that's crazy, because most people see them as kids. They leave, they either collect or they read them, and then they come back when they're older. You know, so that is strange.
The only crappy part, I guess, is that I would have loved to have collected as a kid and then still have those books because they're worth so much now.
Right.
I didn't get to experience. And sometimes I see that, I'm like, people are like, "Oh, I bought this off the shelf." I'm like, that could have been me. There's so much value.
That's a perk. That's a perk of being older.
Yeah.
Everybody knocks me for being older, and it's like, dude, I'm not complaining, bro.
As long as you kept them.
Yeah, as long as you kept them. Yeah.
Yeah.
How many collections got sold, right? So.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Well, it's hockey cards and sports cards and everything, right?
Did you sell your hockey cards? Or you still
for the most part, I still have like a small, like little tiny box of them in some top loaders, I guess you would call it. Probably at my mom's in storage or something like that. So the only real value one I have, I still have. So I convinced my father to buy me a Wayne Gretzky rookie card when I was 8 years old. And funny enough, I put it in this thick slab, basically, with 4 screws on the end to keep it protected. Yeah. And I still have that, and it's got this stupid design on it. I'm like, that was my first slab, really. It's just not great. So
it's like this, right? One of these things?
Yeah, exactly, right? Yep, big, thick, like. So I still have that. Now that you can get cards graded, I want to get that graded too. It'd be cool just to see what it comes back at, right? So
it might go back. It might be valuable.
Yeah, it is valuable.
Oh, it is valuable.
Do you remember what your dad paid?
I think 80 Canadian at the time. So it's worth more than that. And it has no overhead for me because I was like, you're going to buy my love. Buy me this hockey card. So,
dude, you need to get that graded. Yep. Go on eBay or see what it's going for. And then, Dad, look what's up.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Still got it.
Hey, I got a real quick question. I want to go back. JLS asked the question, how to tell if someone is Canadian, and it's how many times a week do you go to Tim Hortons?
Tim Hortons. So I did go to Tim Hortons today, but I'm not a huge Tim Hortons fan, but they're super convenient because they're everywhere.
What's a Tim Hortons? Like a 7-Eleven, a McDonald's?
It's a coffee shop.
Okay. It's like Pete's or like Starbucks or.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't get me wrong, we have Starbucks here, but I'm not a huge fan of their coffee. I'm sure people are big fans of their lattes and stuff like that. But there are like some more, I guess, local coffee shops that I prefer to go to. But like, there's a Tim Hortons like diagonal from my work. So if I need a coffee, I just run in through there and grab one. So it's like crack. I don't understand it. I don't get it. Like people just giant, large coffees all the time. And I'm like from there, I'm like, the coffee's not even that great. I hate to insult anybody who's on here that loves Tim Hortons, but not that great.
No, it's just hilarious how you were like, I'm not the biggest fan, but I did go there today.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I still gotta get the fix in there.
Yeah.
And again, this is probably why I seem American, because I'm, Tim Hortons is a Canadian staple, and I'm just like, ugh.
You do, man. You seem American. I'm actually surprised that you're not. I swear you were a transplant.
Yep.
Oh, look, Vancouver agrees with you. It tastes like donkey piss.
Yeah, man. It's not that great. But.
So something else I want to ask is, you got into comics fairly recently, but you sell. Usually that's more you jumped in and you started selling.
Yeah, so I really started selling over like the last, I would say 2.5 years. Like, it would be around 2 years, because I did my first video on YouTube, roughly around 2 years ago.
2 years.
Because I was sending some books to get graded for the first time, and I never had sold any books. But when they came, I had joined some Facebook groups that do like raffles and auctions and stuff. I stayed away from the auctions and just did raffles. I thought, oh, here's cool. I can win a book for $4, and it's great, but you have to win as well, right? So, and I've won some cool books, but I've also spent a lot of money not winning. And so I got those books graded, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to raffle 3 or 4 of them off because they're pretty good books. Try to make my money back to pay for the grading of the 8 books that I had originally sent. Right. And then just from there, it was like, okay, cool. Like there is some money to be like, I got hooked right away. Basically, I had these 8 books, and my overhead, I figured around my overhead. And again, anytime I talk about money, it's all going to be Canadian, obviously, because that's where I'm at. I had 8 books graded. I wanted 4 for my personal collection, and I wanted to raffle 4 to try to just cover everything. Well, my overhead on getting everything graded, because I had to send them away and stuff like that to an authenticated dealer, and then they send them down to CGC.
Right.
And it was like my overhead, purchasing, grading, pressing most of them. I should have had them all pressed. Was like $650, and I made like $1,000 off those 4 books. So it was like, oh my God, I'm rich, like here we are, like I've made it finally, right? So it kind of hooks you in. And funny enough, now over like the last year, I finally like jumped into one of these Facebook auctions, and the groups that I'm in, it's all within Canada, so it's a very, very convenient for me because it's all a nice standardized shipping. Everyone knows what the shipping will be compared to like if you're doing letter mail or if you're doing boxed and stuff like that. And tracked, insured and stuff. So then I finally like bought a couple books in an auction, and then I started kind of paying attention of how the auctions went. It was so convenient for a bunch of comics that I just don't want, that I've just kind of have came my way.
Right.
Because you really realize, because I always thought, well, people just want books. And that's it. All these other books are never going to sell. But then you start doing these auctions and you're putting up books that I'm like, here's $1, here's $2, here's $3. You have starting bids and buy nows and stuff like that. But people are trying to fill their runs, and they're trying to fill them cheap. And it's really like literally I could do an auction, every couple weeks and get just a little bit of money coming in, and they're paying for the shipping. So it's not like there's barely any overhead to myself besides a little bit of the packaging, which are kind of working in there anyway. So, and now it's I don't know, it's pretty neat. I'm very, very lucky. I'm very fortunate because, obviously there's the YouTube community, which is a family in itself. And then I've gotten into these Facebook groups, but it's a mixture of like 4 or 5 groups, and it's all the same guys, and you get talking and stuff like that. So I also have like that community and that family as well. So it's very, very trusting. Like I've never had a problem in it at all.
You're really immersed in it.
I am, yeah. And to add to that, like really, like I've got a great community here as well that I didn't really know of, and I'm just starting to learn, like meet people in St. John that cut comics. And
nice.
I've made 4 or 5 really good friends, and I've got like 2 or 3 places I can go for comics right in my city, and I can drive an hour and get to 2 more shops, and I can drive an hour and a half and get to another shop, and so on. And it's like, I thought this was just normal, and then I watched some people, and they're like, man, I got to drive an hour and a half just to get to my own shop. I'm like, oh, I've got a shit ton of places that I can get comics at right now. It's kind of crazy. So,
dude, it seems like it's almost you just got into comics 6-7 years ago, and it's taken over your life, it seems. Did you expect that when you first got into comic books? You didn't see that coming, though.
No, not at all. And I just give me 1 second. I have a heat lamp on, and it's making me sweat. So.
Sure, no problem.
It's all good. It does get a little chilly, so yeah.
Dude, he's like he's more immersed in it than we are, it seems like.
It really is insane. Like what was I gonna say? And I work 2 jobs.
Wow.
Like, that's like, I'm always very, very busy, but I like it like that. But it just seems to be a hobby that fits in your free time, whether even if you're at work and you got a little bit of free time, it's not like I don't have to go and play a sport every Thursday night and make sure I'm there. I don't have to be down at the bowling league or whatever. I've got nothing, but it's just, it fits my life. I do it when I want. And if I'm not, then I'm just simply not. Same with YouTube. Like, if I don't have time to watch anything, I just don't watch. Or you can just watch it on the replay.
Watch it on the replay, yeah.
It's so convenient.
Yeah, what were you into before? What took up your time before you got into comics?
Not a lot, really. Like, I have like 3 or 4 hobbies. Right now I'm starting, over the last year or 2, I've gotten into golf. So I'm golfing a lot. But obviously that's just in the summer. I didn't have any real crazy hobbies. I used to be a lot busier than I am now. So that's probably why. So I would just like kind of find time. I was also dating and stuff like that too. Like I was in 4-year relationship before up to a year ago. So obviously that just being in a relationship is takes up your time. Find time to just hang out with my friends. A lot of fantasy football. Shit ton of fantasy football.
Wait a second.
In the fall.
American fantasy football?
Yeah.
Or Canadian?
No, American. No, I'm not.
Does Canadian?
Okay, again,
is there
I love my country. I want everybody to know I love Canada. But no. There's only one football, and it's not. There's 3 footballs, and well, there's 4 because of soccer, and I'm a huge soccer fan as well. But there's the NFL, that's proper. There's college football.
Okay.
And then there's the CFL or high school football, whatever you want to call it. So again, I love my country. But I'm not, not into.
You don't watch CFL at all?
No, I've gone to a couple games when I lived in Alberta just because it was super fun. Any outdoor sporting event is really, really fun, but I just can't get into it. It's not the same for me.
Do you have a team? You have a team?
For CFL or NFL?
CFL.
No.
Really? Wow. Dude, I even have a CFL team.
Yeah, but how often do you watch? Yeah, God.
I used to watch. I think we touched on. I know I touched on this. I don't know if it was with Vancouver, but I used to watch ESPN when ESPN first started. They had the CFL rights, and I would come home from school and just watch CFL games.
I know.
And I love the Eskimos, the Edmonton Eskimos. Okay. But I used to watch it because there was nothing else to watch, and they play. Their field is 110 with the 20-yard end zones.
Yeah.
I know it's wider.
Is it 3 downs or something like that?
It's only 3 downs. Yeah. It's only 3 downs, which is that's just it's crazy to me.
Yeah.
But to me, that was the craziest part about CFL. So, who's your NFL team?
Cowboys.
All right. Well, guys, we'll see.
I know. I figured I was waiting for it. Yeah.
We'll see you in 2 weeks, everybody. Take care, and thank you so much.
I know who you watch.
Dude, that's great, bro. So fantasy football is a big thing up there?
Yeah, a lot of fantasy football, run your own league or just I jump in like 2 or 3 leagues. I'm in a hockey fantasy right now. I'm in a basketball fantasy, which is tough because I haven't watched basketball in a long time. So I'm kind of like, sometimes you can use like those types of things, like whether you're playing, I don't know, like a sports game, video game, and or like a fantasy to kind of get back into a sport. Because I'm like all of a sudden I'm drafting players, and now I'm like, oh, maybe I'll see how they're doing live, and then all of a sudden I'm like watching the sport again. So it's a really, really great way to get back into it. Obviously, if you're gambling, probably isn't the greatest thing for everybody, but it is. There are some benefits of it. So yeah, and I'd love to do a fantasy soccer at some point. Soccer is really popular now compared to it was like say 10 years ago when I got into it. But it's hard to like get 8 to 10 guys that pay enough attention to soccer right now, right? So
I didn't even know. I'm not surprised. I didn't even know they had fantasy soccer.
Yeah, you can pretty much fantasy anything. It'll just be different formats. Like, I mean, officially, like I'm doing a Masters, like a golf Masters pool, like for this weekend because the Masters are this weekend. Right. It's a type of fantasy. You're still picking players, but like everyone's kind of picking out of that pool compared to like drafting players out of a fantasy league, which I like just draft and like that's my guy. I'm gonna go for him, right? So
do you draft a lot of Dallas players?
No, I only if I have no loyalty to my team or players when it comes to gambling. I will bet against my team. I will. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. If I know there's certain players on the Cowboys, obviously that can produce.
Right, of course.
And most quarterbacks are going to produce in a fantasy league anyway. So if you take Prescott, great. He can run and he can throw. It's it's fantastic fantasy wise. We haven't won a Super Bowl, but it's great for your fantasy league. Zeke, up and down. Mari, obviously. Cooper, just killing it. But
yeah.
My loyalty doesn't obviously, as you can tell, I have no loyalty to my country apparently. So my American sports team, my home, my true homeland. So.
Dude, but I'm the same way. I never pick any Raiders. I never pick any Oakland Raiders or Vegas Raiders. I never pick them. Rarely.
If they're available, and worth the value, because you can tell their value, right? So it's a whole world. Dude, it's awesome.
You're really spread thin. That's a lot of stuff going on, dude. Because I just do the football, and that's it. It's gone for the rest of the year, and then it comes around. But I don't jump in. It's a lot of stuff to always constantly be going like that.
I know. I almost got into a baseball one this year, but I just haven't watched any baseball in a long time. I was like, I'm going to hold off, but at some point I wouldn't mind, just in case I want to get back to it. Right? So.
Give me once.
It looks like he has to sneeze. I don't know.
I don't know what he's doing.
Bless you, I guess. I don't know.
Thank you.
Yeah, but no, I'll do I'll do 2 or 3 Eskimos. They changed their name recently.
What did they change it to? Do you know?
I have no idea. Not a clue.
I used to like them, and who was it? The Argonauts.
Where
are they from? Montreal?
Toronto.
Toronto Argonauts. Yeah, Montreal was the Alouettes?
Yeah. Okay. And I feel like Hamilton has a team now, too, in Ontario.
They're like Tiger Cats?
I think so, yeah.
I think there was
I'm a huge CFL fan, so I know this stuff, obviously.
I'm the one from Hialeah, Florida.
Yeah, I know.
I'm naming the Canadian football teams.
Yeah.
It's good though. It's good. That's really awesome that you did pay attention, or you do pay attention to it. So
I used to
love it.
Sports
is everywhere,
right? Every afternoon.
Everywhere, yeah.
How's the golf going for you? That I've tried it. I've tried golf maybe twice, and that is difficult, man.
It's
golf
difficult,
is tough, yeah.
But like over the last say 5 years, me and my couple buddies would try to get out a couple times a year, and then we were like, okay, well, let's try to go to a couple more times, and so on. And this year, or I guess last summer, was the pandemic hit. So we were gonna try to our goal was let's get out 10 times. Doesn't matter when, let's just get out 10 times. Right. And then the pandemic hit, and we're like, well, anything that you have planned is canceled, and golf literally does not get affected by it, because you're only near each other for 5 minutes, and then your ball is that way, and his ball is that way, and this ball, it's great. So we were like, screw it. We have extra money now because we've canceled everything. We just got memberships, and I probably golfed, 45 times last summer.
Wow.
It was insane. Because I had vacation time, and I had nothing to do with it. I wasn't even allowed to go to my province. What am I going to do? I had 9 days of vacation, with the weekends and stuff, but I think I golfed 8 out of 9 days at one point, just because I'm like, there's nothing to do. And half the time you were not in a lockdown, but your bubble, you're only allowed bubbles, and you could have 3 or 4 people at a time, right? So
right. How is the pandemic up in Canada? Is it compared to I don't know if you know? Well, you don't know obviously how it is here, but how is it in Canada?
Ontario is really bad.
Really?
Every time they get a little bit closer. I was just talking with Newbie Comics. I don't know if you guys know Newbie Comics.
Yeah, we've had him on.
He's I've only really just started talking to him recently. He reached out about a comic and that he was looking for, and I found it. I've actually sent it to him as an AOK the other day. Nice. But I was talking to him a little bit and saying how are you guys doing? And that day they were going in another 30-day lockdown, completely. And I'm not talking Ontario obviously is a really, really big place in Canada. And they would basically have sections that they would just be like, hey, you guys are on lockdown, but you guys are okay, blah, blah, blah. And they came out and were just the entire province, every single, you're done, on, lockdown. And for New Brunswick, which we don't have as many, definitely, don't have a lot of people here. Mm-hmm. We have, especially compared to a giant place like that, right. We've been very, very lucky. That's what I was going to ask you. Do you guys have, how do they code it? Ours are just colors. So if it's red, it's really, really bad. And so, okay, good.
Different tiers, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, we've seen red. There are parts of New Brunswick that have seen red a couple times, consistently. But it's spread out enough that they can just go and say, okay, this section you're in red, but you're that city you're not. So a city that's an hour away from me, they might be in orange and we're in yellow, and the one that's hour and a half from here are red. And it's almost never gone completely red the entire time. I've been super, super lucky. It barely even affected myself besides just not being able to see people. And I was so busy all the time, I was barely seeing people anyway. So once they started doing these bubbles of like 6 people and 8 people, I'm like, I can't even fill that right now in a 2-week period because I'm working and then I'm going to work now. I'm like, I'll go see my mom and my sister, and it's like, great. And like it's not like that for everybody. I've been very, very fortunate. So I would like to get out of my province, though, just for a weekend at some point, but you'll never see me complain. People got it a lot worse than I do.
Yeah,
not worse. Because I feel you. I be good, Steve.
Thank you.
But I feel that's how I am. I feel like I've been blessed with this thing. I'm not complaining. It could have gone a lot worse, so I'm not complaining about it. But
I don't know anybody that has had COVID. I don't even know anybody that knows someone that has had COVID. And I don't think everyone can say that.
I know a few. I've had some family members get it, but thank God they made it through okay, and
Yeah,
nobody got too bad. But
no, for sure.
But it's funny because the only thing I've heard about Canada as far is the borders closed, correct?
Yep.
And that was affecting a lot of the border towns and the people going back, and they were having a hard time just surviving, financially because of the back and forth, right?
Quebec had it pretty bad, I think, for a while. Haven't heard too much about them now, but Ontario seems to be the center point. For myself, they did this they call it the Atlantic bubble, and it's these 4 Atlantic provinces, like Nova Scotia, PEI, New Brunswick, and I can't remember who else they put in there. Maybe it was just the 3, and it was working really, really well. They did stop it, but it was only like it wasn't getting bad. They just got ahead of it and said, okay, winter's coming. People are going to get they're naturally going to get sick. We're not going to mess with this. We're going to basically shut down the borders, and next summer or spring we'll open it back up. And they're already talking about, hey, like, they're going to probably open it up soon, which is really, really nice. Like, if you ever hear anybody complaining from the Maritimes of Canada, just punch them in the fucking face, because everyone else has it so bad, and you're like, we can't complain. I hear people complain like, hey, I'm wearing my mask. Like, shut up. We're so lucky right now. Like, it's insane.
I feel what you're saying, so I do get that because the
only thing. Sorry to cut you off for a second, but
no,
you're just thinking. In my city, like, we do have a like a waterfront or whatever, and cruise ships do stop here. More of less like it's not because it's a cruise ship destination, but I think it's just like one of the stops onto the next route. So we will see some of that income. Because sometimes they have to stay for a night, stuff like that. So there are some businesses that have been affected, but they were very touristy businesses anyways, and there wasn't a lot of them, luckily. So maybe like 6 to 8 really got affected, but they were only seasonal anyway. So most of those people were already in a position that if randomly their business shut down, it wasn't going to like destroy them. But there's a lot of retirees that were kind of doing extra stuff afterwards. And I mean, chances are, if you have a seasonal job, you may have also something to do in the winter that you might just become full-time. So
right,
we've been lucky that way.
Do you guys have the vaccine? How's that rolling out?
It has come. They're focusing on. I think that they're focusing on the parts that are in the highest color right now. So I don't expect to see it too much around here for a bit, like in my city itself. So because there's a couple of cities in New Brunswick that they're constantly on that. Like it's even like you can't even just call it yellow, orange, or red anymore. Like I call it like a dark orange or like a light orange, because they kind of figure out like what they're doing, right? Like if you're in like a light red, it just means that like you're not in lockdown, but maybe things are really restricted, right? So, and there are a couple of places around here that kind of are always in that like on the border of being red. So I think they're going to start taking care of that first. So hello, Man Cave.
Dude, that's crazy. It's good to hear, man, because you're in Canada. It's a different country, so I wonder how it affects everybody, because this has been crazy, and hopefully it's getting to the end.
And that's my thing from the start. It's what's the 3 to 5 year plan? Okay, we're a year in. Maybe we got to do another year. Like, what if they weren't talking about vaccines yet? Okay, great. Well, you know what? If we get into year 3, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start asking questions, because okay, we're getting to year 3. If we're into year 3, okay, what the fuck are we doing in the next 2 years? Are we going to keep doing the same thing? To me, we're ahead of it. If vaccines are starting and things might get normal in some places and then start to spread from there in the good type of spread, to me, I'm ahead of it. It's 3 to 5 years of my fucking life. Sorry if I'm swearing too much. I just like to swear.
No, you're good, man. I like to swear.
I'll do it. I'll do it, right? So, but I can't. I don't want to do this the rest of my life, right? So,
no, you don't want to do it the rest of your life. But I think I saw something on Instagram, and it was like, this sucks, right? But they were comparing it to somebody that was born in like 1900. I don't know if you guys saw. Did you guys see that?
No, but I can just
imagine. Yeah, I can imagine.
Dude, it would have sucked to have been born in 1900. When you're 14, World War I. When you're 20, the Spanish influenza, and it just kept going back worse and worse and worse. We got nothing to complain about. Of course, I'm not trying to downplay it by no means. I'm not trying to downplay it, but it could always be worse. It could always be. I mean, Spanish influenza was like 50 million worldwide. And thank God we're not anywhere near. The numbers are high, but nowhere near 50 million.
Yep.
But
I'll say one more thing too, and we're not downplaying this at all. But how do I friggin' say this without sounding like an asshole?
Yeah,
what a super convenient time to live in a pandemic, because I can literally go home and have 18 things that I can do on my laptop, on my phone, on my reading and watching this show and blah, 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 and nothing is stopping. And I'm sorry, but like, if this was, and be able to stay in contact with my friends and family and be talk to you guys across another country, and you couldn't do that 20, 30 years ago. Like I can imagine what people's mentality would be like then, because if you're feeling a little down, you can find an outlet inside your home right now, and you couldn't do that as much. You just had to stare at each other and go, I'm starting to fucking hate you. You know what I mean? Like, it's literally like, so, and again, I'm not downplaying anything, but it's to every person that just likes to stay in anyways. Again, like, you see memes about it, but I'm sorry, but it's, yes, you can.
It could be so much worse. Just all the streaming options that we have. And the thing is, there's nothing to watch. You got like a freaking 50 million things to watch, and you're complaining? Are you serious?
I know.
Dude, there was only like 4 channels when I was a kid. I couldn't even imagine the pandemic during that time, let alone 1918. Can you imagine in 1918, they didn't even have a radio to listen to?
Yeah.
Exactly. I agree 100%. I mean, the people that like to be outdoors and stuff like that, and very outdoorsy, I get it. I mean, it's changing your lifestyle for a bit, but it won't go away. I mean, it will come back, right? Like, you'll be able to eventually get outdoors and be around people and stuff like that. So I think, anybody who's like that, they're probably just they're discovering new hobbies in the meantime, right? So.
Yeah, but the internet and YouTube was meant for the pandemic, right?
100%. And the mail system.
And eBay.
eBay, yeah.
Oh, I can't go to my shop? Let's go to eBay. And then you get in trouble. And that's when you get in trouble. Hey, last week, it's been about a week, man. You won, I guess, a raffle at your shop. And what an amazing prize you won. And it was just tailor-made for somebody, wasn't it?
Dude, it was so crazy. Like, that, if you haven't watched the video, I'm going to spoil it anyways. I won what's the name of the statue company again?
I think it was a Prime One, wasn't it? Or it was either Sideshow?
Oh, Sideshow. I won this Wonder Woman Sideshow collectible for $5 Canadian in a raffle that my LCS does. That goes to and the money goes to charity, and it gets donated to them by Sideshow, and then they raffle it off, and as soon as I saw it, because I was going to buy a ticket anyways, and I thought, well, I mean, if I win it, it's obviously going to Ryan, and didn't I friggin' win it? Yeah, there you go. And I messaged him, and I was kind of like, because like him and I have sent AOKs, because it's very, very convenient, because we're picking up books for each other. So we are sending AOKs to each other a decent amount, because we're building up stacks as well of books we get for each other. So we don't talk about shipping, because I'm like, hey, I'm going to ship you an AOK with your books. You'll ship me an AOK. No, all equals each other.
It evens out.
But this one, I was like, we don't talk about statues much. So I didn't know if he actually like had room for a statue. Would he accept it? And he doesn't. Him and I are completely different when it comes to AOKs. I'm not selfish, but if you send me an AOK and I'm like, oh, this is really like what a nice thing, excellent. I don't actually collect this, so I'm going to sell this and buy something I want. And I really appreciate what you gave to me, but that new thing that I got, that's the special thing that you gave to me. He's just like, I'm going to cherish this thing. So I'm like, man, I know if I send it to him, if he doesn't like it, he won't move it and buy like an amazing, comic or something like that. I told him again, but luckily if you see his reaction, he was like, yeah, I want this statue. This thing is ridiculous. And it is ridiculous. And it's got some value, which is it's really cool. But a cool, like, just process of it. It probably came from the US. It made it to my shop here. It made it to my apartment, and then it made it back to him in the US. Just a big
and it was tailor-made for him.
It really was, yeah.
How tall is it? What's the scale of it? Do you remember?
I would say if you took it's funny because I have my cell phone working right now, so I have a short box and a short box to make this all work. And the height of it is almost as high as two short boxes or too long or short, whatever. It's pretty high up because she's like walking on some rocks that are exploding.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's like 20-something inches. I would say it's about 20-something inches, 2 feet.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was pretty awesome. Yeah.
It's really freaking nice. How did you and Lasso connect, man? Because you guys are like ride or die.
Yeah, it's funny. It's he reached out to me on Instagram one time. God, this would have been, well, it's definitely over a year ago. It's probably a year and a half ago, I would think. And he was like, hey, he literally was, because we didn't know each other, and I don't know if we knew each other's YouTube channels either. But he's like, hey, I saw you in one of the live streams, and saw you in the chat, and just wanted to reach out and see if you want to talk about comics and stuff like that. I was like, hell yes, of course. And we just would periodically talk, and then you would talk a little bit more and talk a little bit more. And it's great because we're very opposite in how we collect and what we collect.
Total opposites.
It's completely right. So I want to say that he benefits from my Marvel knowledge and I benefit from his DC knowledge, but I benefit from his Marvel knowledge and his DC knowledge. The only thing he will benefit from me would be modern indie knowledge, I guess, if he ever wants to get into it, because I love indie books too, right? So it's Marvel and indie, and then I'll eventually get into DC.
That's something I wanted to touch on. I'm glad you brought it up. I did see you're into. I love the indies.
Yeah, indies are great. Yeah,
it's probably. I'm not the biggest reader, but it's probably like 95% of what I get is indie. I get very little Marvel, and I absolutely no DC. Sorry, Lasso.
Yeah, I know, right? The thing about indie that I found is one, they can write whatever they want.
Yeah.
They can do whatever they want. Sex, drugs, rock and roll, and lots of killing, no problem, right? You don't have to worry about. I get with Marvel, like if you kill a character off, you have to bring him back at some point. Indie, you're one and done. Maybe you get a couple volumes. That's it. It's easy reads because your volumes are not going to be very, very high. So maybe like say 18 issues, 15 issues, something like that. that you want more of, but you might not get more of because sometimes it's just a one and done. There's lots of little mini series and stuff like that. And I'm not somebody who needs to collect every single book of a run. I like the A covers and stuff like that, and a couple of variants of most, like say if a Marvel run is 87 issues or 120 issues, I'm probably just going to go for those issues, not all the variants. But like I love going for an indie run that's 12 books and have like just B covers. It's easy to collect that. It's really like, I don't know, I just love that aspect of it too. It's a fun little, like, it's almost like a side hobby within the hobby.
Yeah.
In the way you collect, I guess.
It's not the biggest investment, is what you're saying, right? It's not like a Marvel run or something like that. That's if you're collecting runs, because I really don't collect runs except indie runs.
Yeah.
And it's the short ones, and then it's not every issue. It's I love indies. What are some of the ones you're reading now that you really? You know what? Let me just real quick.
Yeah.
You know what I am kind of getting sick of indies about? How many apocalypse stories, end of the world, and
there is a lot of that going on. Yeah,
it's getting
a
little old for me as far as that. I know Geiger's like a big book that's dropped today, and it's kind of along the same lines. Yep. That's the only.
What was it? Origins was a new one. I am reading. We only find them when they're dead, but that's it's like more of a sci-fi. It's not really so that like I've enjoyed that so far. My laptop's actually starting to do something that's crazy. It says preparing Windows. I'm actually still keeping an eye on it, but yeah, I agree 100%. I'm having trouble wanting to dive into a lot of the new indie right now, just because of the way it is. The most recent real post-apocalyptic one would have been for me would have been Little Bird, and that was 2 years ago. That was 5 issues.
That was Image Comics, yeah.
You know,
I think I got the first 2, and I just couldn't get into it.
There's some cool variants. I like it, and that's actually
a lot of people like it.
It's based in Canada.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
I think part of it is based in Canada or whatever. I think it's right along the border, which is kind of neat. The art is not for everybody. It's very a lot of people don't enjoy the Silver Surfer Black Trad Moore art. And it's very like, like I'm tripping without being on anything kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So I really enjoy it. I love that. Like me reading that and White Whale going off about it too is at the same time. This is perfect because I would get the new book and then I would find his video because I know that he loves it. I'm like, I love this little run. So.
White Whale loved that.
Yeah, he didn't stop talking about it, and I just loved it so much that he wouldn't stop talking about it. So,
did you ever read Extremity?
No, I have not.
Because that's the one. I don't know if anybody's mentioned it, but that's Little Bird kind of reminded me of that Extremity. I was wondering if it was the same artist. I don't remember.
No, I haven't. I currently right now, so I have a bunch of the smaller trades for Saga.
Okay.
You know how like you can get just like the little trades would be like 4 issues in a trade or whatever. So I have like probably like the first like 12 or 13. I've just picked them up randomly. You know what I mean? If I can find them used, great. Because it was something that I was like, well, I was like when I got into Saga, it was already out well into the issues. So I didn't want to start from number 1 and start collecting it and trying to. I don't know. There was something about it. I still didn't
the
like
whole run.
The entire run.
I did the same thing.
And I haven't even read all the ones that I have, but every so often I'll just pick up one and start reading more. And I finally got. I wanted a Saga number 1. And I finally got it, and it's off to CBCS right now, getting graded. And I always said that if I get number 1, I wouldn't mind having. Like I like doing like the first 10 issues of something as well if I'm not going to collect the whole run, especially if it's like an indie. It's like, well, maybe this is something I can start looking into. Maybe some of these Facebook auctions. Maybe I'll find some of the early issues, but they're not. It's not that they're expensive, but they're not cheap raw books as well. Those early ones, so you can still pay some. And didn't a guy? Because I had bought the Saga 1 in a Facebook auction.
Okay.
And this guy messages me like 3 days later, and he's like, "Hey man, I saw you won that you claimed that Saga 1. Congrats!" I was like, "Oh, I appreciate it." And he's like, "Just so you know, and he does auctions and stuff. He's like, I have issues 2 to 8 for sale.
Oh, wow.
If you're interested. And I was like, and I'm, if you know me, I have a comic budget, and I stick to that budget, and I get paid weekly from my main job, and I get paid bi-weekly from my other job. And I'm like, yes, I am interested depending on the price for them, but you have to allow me to do a little payment plan with you. And I'm talking like, I'll give you $5 to $10 a week until these are paid off with shipping. This is the only way I'll guarantee it. He's like, great. So like literally this is like months ago, and I finally got like the last like $8 the other day, so they're in the mail now, which is awesome. And then in between, then I have now found issue 9 and 10 for like
perfect,
$5 each. So now I'm gonna have 1 to 10, which would be very cool because I would like to eventually, like down the line, get them pressed and get them graded and have just the first 10 issues. I'm not gonna buy another issue from that run unless it was like that crazy friggin' B cover of #1, which is like really awesome looking.
Oh no, yeah, that's
super expensive too. I'm pretty sure. Like,
what a 9.8. I don't know what it goes for now, but
yeah,
it used to go for big money.
I'd have to follow up on that thing. So,
yeah, that's a big time variant. I forget that variant has a name. It's the one with Marco and her on the cover. And
it's got the 2 faces, and I think the baby's face down here, or something like that. Yeah, and it's
nice.
beautiful. It's beautiful, but there's just I'm not spending the money.
No,
it's not gonna happen. So.
Well, you know what?
Even a #1 cover can get a little pricey.
Yeah, I got one with a little stain on it, and you can barely see the stain. It's like a water stain, and I got it for like super, super cheap. And he's like, there's a water stain on this, because I kind of got to let you know. And I'm like, that's perfect. I don't. Yeah, to each their own. I don't collect 9.8s. I collect. I collect books that present well, and it presents really, really well. So without the stain, it would probably be like a 9.6. So that's great. I don't even care what the back looks like as long as it's attached. Just so I want that front, because I know everyone, like a lot of people are addicted to it, and I am too. I just love the look of slab books, and it's about that cover and how it looks in a slab. Half the time I don't even care what's in the content. I am a cover whore. I'm a cover whore. Like, just give me this awesome cover. Like, bro, I don't care if it's first Rogue. It's an ugly cover. Get that shit out of my apartment right now. Like, sorry, like it's about those covers. They're so nice.
Bro, can I tell you sometimes when I'm not sure about a book? I feel you. I'm in total agreement. But I've never said this, but sometimes it's like, dude, should I send this in? I don't know if I should. And then you know what I do? I get it and I put it, like, if it's in a slab, how would it look in a slab? And sometimes that's the deciding factor for me. Okay, I think it's gonna grade high. Might be a 9.8, but let me see how it would look in a slab. Oh shit!
I find like if I see a cover sometimes, I'm like, yeah, it's an okay cover, and then someone will show it slabs, and all of a sudden I like that book now, and I'm like, 5 minutes ago I didn't even care for that book, and now it looks so nice with this nice shine, like it's so pretty, like a new car. I'm like, well, now I have to get it.
It presents so nicely.
Hey, I feel you. I've got the self-control a lot more. Back when I first started with the slabs, that was another addiction. Man. I'm a little bit more now than I was, but yeah, dude. Slabs are, and people say, man, you're just encasing, you're entombing your book, and it's like, it's okay.
I love that tomb. What a beautiful tomb, And that's the thing, exactly. In a perfect world, my personal collection, whether it's 5 books or 1,000, is just everything is slabbed. In the end, read it once if you have to, and then just boxes of slabs.
Yeah, just all slabs, man, just everywhere. It's crazy. Have you gotten any books off? I'm not sure, off your 2021 list.
I do. I have. I don't have them in hand, but I have 2 so far. Okay. I've got what is it? Wolverine 66. First Old Man Logan. Is it 66?
Okay.
66.
I'm having a brain fart.
Yeah.
It's 66. Where he's got he's on the cover and the Jeep's in the back, whatever. And Silver Surfer 2 from Volume 1.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
Yeah.
the blue cover.
The blue cover, yeah. I found a nice low to mid grade because that's if you
Wait a second. You didn't catch that in your video that you did with Lasso. You guys were going back and forth. Is it a blue? I think it's a purple. It's a purple.
Oh yeah. It's a blue, isn't it?
It's purple. It's
here we go.
You see your thing right there. Your name. It's purple.
Yeah, I see this. There's no way that book is that purple.
It's pretty purple. So what did you get? So you got one though?
I am gonna So it's there's a site that I use for a shop that's within Canada, and it lets you slowly like put together a stack and then eventually build it up and then ship from there, which is kind of cool. Nice. So I've just kind of been adding. It's a lot of filler books, but they randomly have some key books and stuff like that, and they just had like a low mid grade of that for super cheap. So I just spot it up, and it's in that stack or whatever. Right? And it's just a nice. Yeah, that's the thing. I'm putting together volume 1 of Silver Surfer very, very slowly, but like low to mid grades as long as they all present well. And I've just been chipping away. I think that gives me like 8 or 9 out of the 18. So it's getting there.
Did you get it raw?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's gonna be raw.
You haven't got any yet? Is that you haven't? Did you get it already?
The book? No, it's not. It's not in hand. It's like I've already purchased it. It's just it's not being sent yet.
Okay.
Not until.
Read it. That's an excellent story.
Oh yeah, definitely, 100%. And I do have Marvel Unlimited too. If I did buy a slab one, but I haven't actually. So the only one that I have slabbed is the Silver Surfer 1 that I had won, and I have read it. And then I got it slabbed, and it's like a 1.8. It's just, but it presents well. It even has like a little hole in like his armpit.
Yeah, his arm. I saw it.
But it's like it still presents really well for a 1.5 or 1.8. So I'm like, I'm gonna put this run together like that. The problem is going to be, I've mentioned this before in videos, is that I've seen Silver Surfer 4s in 3s and 4s, and I feel like it doesn't present where I want it. But it's such an expensive book. That's going to be the tough one because I need it. I want it to present a certain way, right?
Of course. It's not just getting like even a 1.8. There's some 1.8s that really look, and other ones that it's like, man, that's a nice looking 1.8. You know?
Yeah.
So there is a difference, and everybody has a standard that they want for their collection.
100%. Yeah. And that's not going to be through my full collection. It's just as long as it presents well. But I think it would just be kind of fun to have like low to mid grades of that volume. Because I think because of the age of it too, I think older books kind of look good when they are slabbed, but they've, I mean, not weathered, but they're experienced, right? So
cool. and that what is it? There's only 18 books.
Yeah,
it's a perfect run to get for anybody.
Perfect, yeah. So I've just been chipping away when I can.
That's awesome, dude. What about that X-Men 14 is going up in price? That was like the top book in your list.
It was, yeah. I know. I was like,
a tough one, yeah.
Yeah, and I basically would have to try to follow up on that book too. But like I kind of mentioned in that video, is that sometimes when a book is hot, it's super convenient as well because there's going to be a bunch of them around. It's just do you have the money and can you fund the deal? Because when it's not hot, people aren't necessarily selling them because they're waiting for it to get hot. So you're looking around, you're like, am I going to have to settle on this one book, maybe a certain grade I don't want, stuff like that. So it's like, you know what? Like, I'm still going to really keep my eye out for that. And if it's the right time, and if I sell the right books, and if I have the right funds at the right time, there's going to be like the FF45. They're everywhere right now. The First Inhumans, and that's like the second. I mean, like that and the X-Men 14 are the last two on my list of the bigger books. And I see a 45 every week now in an auction. It's just not. Is there something wrong with it there, or is this guy selling it for too much and stuff like that? It's hard buying comics right now. I think everyone has kind of mentioned that as well. So everything's very
pricey. Comics are getting super pricey right now.
Right now, everybody's like, I've been hearing, is it a seller's market? Is it a buyer's market? I don't think it's either one.
It's all over the place right now.
It's just busy. Busy. Great time to be an indie collector because none of those are going up. They're just staying where they are, so I'll just stick with that.
There's certain freaking something is killing the children is freaking.
That's true too. Yeah, I guess I haven't got into. I didn't end up getting into that, which it would have been nice just financially. There's that, and a guy keeps asking me about. There's another horror one, maybe Haha or something like that.
That's the one with the clowns. That one's
Department
of Truth is pretty hot.
Department of Truth as well. Yeah,
Department of Truth. It's I think it's Haha was hot for like the first issue, I think, and then it's coming also with some cool variants. But
I have a Frozen variant of one issue of something's killing the children, but it's just because it's Frozen and it's a nice cover.
Yeah,
that's probably a hot book though.
All of them seem to be freaking hot, man.
Oh yeah.
Do you have buyer's remorse? I mean, seller's remorse? Or have you had seller's remorse?
Yes and no. I guess the thing is that it just depends on. I don't mind if a book blows up after I've sold it. It's just, I mean, did it owe me anything? Did I get in on it too expensive and then kind of end up selling it for very, very little? I, off the shelf, was getting the Thor God of Thunder run and the Thanos run. So when I eventually, because I read them all and they were amazing, and I would still like to have those in my collection, but when they started to heat up, I sold those books for well more than what I paid off the shelf. So it didn't. I can't be mad that now Thor God of Thunder #2 is blown up, and I got 6, 7, 8, 10, 12 times what I paid for because I paid $5 or whatever it was for it in the first place. So there's I'm like, oh, it'd be nice to still have that, but at the same time I'm like, shit, like I one book paid for the entire run basically for me, right? So,
right. It kind of evens out because I've had that too. And then I start thinking, it's like, yeah, dude, I kind of lost a little bit. I sold this one too soon, but then this book that I bought off somebody, he did the same thing, and I looked out, So it kind of evens out, dude. It kind of evens 100%.
Out. It's almost like a set it and forget it kind of thing. It's like if I'm putting it in an auction or I'm putting it up for a raffle, then I'm ready to move on from that book, and I'm not going to think about the price afterwards. And if I ever want it in my collection again, there's a good chance it's going to come down. I don't care if it's 10 years from now or whatever, and I can always get it, or maybe I just find the right deal at the right point. Right? So
yeah, definitely, I'm with you, dude. I'm okay with it too. It's
there's a commitment thing too. Like I'm less committed to now that there's so many avenues that you can buy books in and so many communities. I'm not as committed to some of the books in my personal collection because I know they will come back around, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So I used to be like, oh, I have to keep this book forever because I'm never going to get it again. And now I'm like, it's if something blows up, that's good. It's gone because I'm going to buy 2 more that I want for my PC, and I'm going to eventually get that book back anyways, especially for me because I haven't been collecting for 30 years. I'm very fresh in this hobby. I got another 20 years before I start thinking about getting out of this hobby compared to someone who has been in it for 30 years and they're like, I can't do this anymore. It's like, man, I'm still fresh as a peach, so his books will come back around, right? Not older books, yes, that obviously, I have a FF46, the first Black Bolt.
Yes,
nice.
I'm probably going to hold on to that book because they're around, but that's an older book. And the Silver Surfer one and stuff like that, don't get me wrong, money will speak a lot of times in this hobby, but these modern books, if I got a modern book, I can, whatever, man. There's going to be so many of them, and they're going to be available because people aren't holding on to them as much, right? So, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, but they are getting pricey.
They're getting pricey.
They're getting pricey, man. Because it seems to me like people are saying outside speculators are into it, whatever. That's what's raising the money.
Yeah, and the sports cards.
Yeah, if you look at eBay, it seems like a lot of 9/8 are drying up on certain books, and there's just not there, or the price is really freaking nuts. And sometimes I just don't want to pay that price. Hey, look, what's up, Cookie?
Yes. I was just talking. He just reached out to me. He just reached out to me yesterday. We were talking about Nova. He's going to try to read some Nova, so I was giving him some.
Cookies okay. Cookies all right.
He's okay, dude. Comic at 84 today.
He's okay too. He's okay.
I watched his video. He unboxed X-Men book today, and he was making some really good points about the 9/8 too. He said the 9/8 are drying up.
They are.
So you can just jump on what's left for now, but like those 9/8s, and if you have them,
hold them.
I don't know, maybe either hold them or maybe consider getting. I don't know. Like there's a fine line because like when is it going to max? Right? I don't think it's going to max anytime soon because this whole buyers, sellers, whatever market is just hitting. So we've got some time, but a seller's remorse can be, did I sell the book too soon or too late too?
Oh, definitely. Like
something.
But you know what? Selling it too late doesn't hurt as selling it too soon.
I know.
A lot worse.
Yeah. There's nothing than buying like $1 book and then selling it for $20, and just being like.
Yeah. Speaking about dollar books, I don't know if you saw in one of my last videos, but I've gotten for $1 each 3 of those Kanan number 6s, and they're probably like 9.4 to 9.6.
No way, dude.
For real? And they're getting graded right now. My overhead on all 3 books, even like getting them graded, is like under $100, and they're
it's like $90 if you got them for that low a price. It's like $90 to get them graded.
That's impressive. Yeah.
I got really, really lucky on that. But what I was going to mention a minute ago about trying, like, selling too soon or selling too late, or just like waiting to the right time. In that my very first video where I was sending books away, and then my first CGC unboxing, I've had an Eternals 1 8.0 or 8.5 or whatever this entire time. And I had said when I first got, I'm going to wait till the first trailer. And then that baby's going up in raffle, and it's been like 2 fucking years, and we still don't have a trailer because it was like it got announced, and I happened to see it on eBay for like a really good price at the time. And I even he had a best offer, and the guy was like, they just announced, he came back and he was like, I'm not accepting your offer because they just announced this, and this is the best price on this book on eBay right now. And I'm like, you know what? That's fair enough. I'm still buying it because it's still a great friggin' price. And it was like, it was so cheap. It was like $25, $20, whatever. It was really, really cheap.
Wow.
And I got it graded. And then now I don't have any overhead on it because it was part of that group of books that I ended up selling half of them and paid for itself. And I'm still like, there's been times I'm like, do I just move that thing already? I'm like, no, I'm gonna keep waiting. We're in for the long haul in this goddamn Eternals.
You're already into years, man. You're already freaking into years.
Oh, it's so good. It's all profit. It's all profit anyways on the damn book.
Yeah, but exactly. You know when that trailer drops though, the price of that book is just gonna skyrocket.
Yeah. And then
it's gonna jump.
And then it's gonna start coming back down. Well, I guess when the movie comes, so it will,
after the movie comes out,
plateaus,
What was I gonna say? What I got a feeling I know the answer, but I'm gonna ask anyway.
Yeah.
Nova.
Yeah.
Why Nova?
My man Nova. Annihilation. Abnett and Lanning. It's like I said, when I was out west and I started reading some books online, I just found this Annihilation, and I didn't understand crossovers, and I didn't understand any of it really. It was all very, very new to me, and I would ask my buddy Chad, how does this work? He's like, oh, okay, this is how crossover works and stuff. And there's something about the Annihilation run in itself. Some of the crossovers, because you get Annihilation Nova, Annihilation, I think Wraith, and there's 3 or 4 of them or whatever. And he's just in this mix, and I'm like, who's this guy? He's very, very cool. Like I don't know, he's very cool looking, and I love anything that has to do with outer space and galactic. That's all my, some of my favorite characters have been Nova, Exo Manowar. It's that type of, and Thanos obviously is friggin' awesome. And, so that was the thing, is like the volume 1, I haven't even read. Now, I have them all now, but I haven't read because it's not from my collecting time period.
Right.
this is where it happened for me, and that's why I love that new Guardians of the Galaxy team. That volume 3 or whatever. The very first book I bought off of a shelf that was not just in my pull list was that Guardians of the Galaxy #1 from volume 3 of the new team. And that's not their first appearance as a team. It's their first solo series or first solo issue or whatever.
Yeah.
And just Nova is just mixed in and all that, and he fights Annihilus at the end, and it's just awesome. I'm like, yeah, I'm fucking hooked on this guy. And there's a statue of him standing on Annihilus on a comet. And if you've ever read the series, and it shows pieces of Annihilus all mixed in, because he basically takes his hand and just rips his fucking spine out. It's just awesome. And I'm like, I love this. This is amazing. Who is this guy? And I'll never fucking Tony Sanders, because Tony Sanders is someone who I started watching very early on.
Okay.
And he just calls him Dick Rider, and I just crack up every time. Everyone loves that Dick Rider, and he shows the.
I almost said it. I go, you know what?
It's I'm
not gonna say Dick Rider.
And he's so proud. He'll be like, he'll just display the comic or whatever, and he's just like, that Dick Rider. That Dick Rider. I'm losing my mind. So good.
I was gonna say it, dude. I go, let me not. But
he definitely has one of the most badass costumes with the helmet and the blue and the gold. And there's, like you said, there's something about the Marvel Cosmic Universe that is just so badass.
It's done really well. Yeah. They could stay cosmic the entire time, and I wouldn't miss anybody on Earth.
Because it's like not the most well-known superheroes, but at the same time, it still has they're still as strong. Like for some reason, cosmic superheroes tend to be a little bit more overpowered. Like Captain America and things like that. So there's definitely a real badass factor.
It's cool because they can have these little side stories. It's almost like indie within Marvel. You know what I mean? You can just stick to cosmic and just do your own thing. And every so often, just go to Earth and then fuck off again, and then come back, whatever. So,
did you ever read War of the Kings? I think it was with Black Bolt.
War of the Kings and Realm of Kings.
Yeah, that's another really good.
I think those all kind of tied in. It was either later on or beforehand. I think with the
it was all kind of all together. Yeah.
Who's in that one?
Black Bolt, and he fights Vulcan, and then there's Beta, all those
gladiators
in it,
a bunch of those guys. I don't remember the story very, very well, but really, really good art and stuff, and I remember the stories being good. So.
Dude, one of your books on your 2021 was the first appearance of Annihilus.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and that was a book that was, I don't know if it's still super hot, but I think it was heating up at the time too.
It was.
I don't know. I haven't really checked the price on that too. It's the thing. It's I make this list because it is books that I'm kind of keeping an eye on.
Yeah.
But I'm not necessarily searching them all the time. It's just more especially with Facebook auctions and stuff like that. If I see it, I'm like, okay.
Take them around.
If they come your way, then
100%.
Yeah, it's not like I gotta get these in 2021.
No, exactly. There's books last year because my list was 23 books. I was just like, these are all the books I want. Send them to me, basically. And this year I
sent them all.
Yeah. No, exactly. There's that's the thing. I grew up in comics in the modern age because I've only been in it for the last 9 years, 8 years, 7 years, whatever. So some of those really neat books and first appearances are also some of the indie titles that I've loved and fallen in love with already are just as important to me. I'm always looking for Lady Mechanica Zero, which is her first appearance, and I haven't even read all of her stuff. I love the art, I love the character. It's and that was on my list last year, but I still look for it more right now than I do some of the books on my list this year, right? So I like the idea of the list. I like the idea of just kind of it gives you this little bit of focus and this little bit of goal, and to remind you, like, hey, like, you know, you were really into this book a couple months ago.
Mm-hmm.
Now, don't forget about it too, right? So
yeah,
that's a very niche book right there, Lady Mechanica.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It there are only there's like 4 or 5 volumes, but there are only 4 or 5 issues each.
But the
art's be pretty. 2 covers to each issue, so or 3. So there's like an A, B, and a C basically. So it's affordable but very hard to find those books. And like you said,
do you get a lot of modern slabs, like indie slabs, or do you stick to Marvel only as far as slabs?
Been sticking to Marvel, even though I do want the indies slabbed. I guess I just at the time I constantly was thinking about steampunk, exactly. For me, I'm gonna burp. I find with doing Marvel is like if there's a chance that you might flip it as well, I'd rather have those graded right now. Because you're always kind of okay, I'm eventually going to get all these books that I want. I know that I am. I'm very confident. I think everyone's confident that they could, unless it's like something crazy. So I'm like, I've got indies that I want to slab. I'm going to focus on these just because there's a higher chance that the Marvel are going to get hot, blow up, and I already have it slabbed and ready to ride, compared to, you know, my Descender #1 that's a $15 raw book and not even $100 slabbed. I don't need to have that slabbed right now. With that being said, I do have the Magic Order #1 slabbed. Love that little run. And right now, I have Saga that's being slabbed, and my Kanto #1.
Nice.
It's like a crazy. Like I think it might come back at 9.8. It's so nice. And if I'm wrong, I don't even care. I paid almost nothing for it. So.
Wow.
You didn't get it with the damage that a lot of them came with? You're lucky. Mine did.
My presser, there's a local presser here. He's got a bunch. He's been collecting for a long time, and he had picked up Kanto #1 and Kanto #2, and I didn't even know this. We hadn't really talked about his comics. I was just like, I'll get him to press these books. And then randomly in one of these Facebook groups, he posted, he's like, I have Kanto #1 and Kanto #2, and I reached out to him right away. I was like, shit, I've actually been, you know, trying to get my hands on a Kanto. It slipped out of my hands a couple times. And this is obviously before this announcement about, you know, Will Smith's studio or whatever that's taking it over. And he was like, yeah, it's like I pressed them already too.
Nice.
Before I put them up for sale. And now they're blowing right up, even just raw. And both of them are really, really nice. And I'm going to tell you what I paid for them. I paid 80 Canadian for them both.
That's a great price.
They're not $80 books now.
No.
They're much more. So, but the thing is that those are also, that book's probably going to stay. Like it would, I don't want to say that I would never sell it. But there are some books I'm like, I don't know if I could. It was hard enough to get it in the first place. It really is, without spending way too much money. So
there's nothing wrong with saying you're not going to sell some books.
No, exactly.
There's a ton of books that I'm never going to sell.
Yeah. Well, to me too, it's more like it's not about. And don't get me wrong, I'm not all about just flipping my books. Like I'm building. If I am, it's because I can see other books coming into my personal collection because of that money.
Of course.
And knowing that I could probably get that book later on, but like I've got a couple of variants of Marvel books. There's a Nova #1 variant from like volume 7. It's a Sam Alexander book, but it's just his helmet, so it looks like a Richard Rider helmet, which it might be, right? I've never seen that book again. I saw it once, so now I have it. Like, there's no way I'm getting rid of that. I don't, I don't care what the price is on it. I haven't seen it around. And then there's a Lionel Francis Yu. There's this Captain Marvel #1, whatever, volume 55, that it's just amazing cover. And I've never, ever seen it. Like, not even on just searching eBay. I've never seen it before. So I'm like,
wow.
I have them. They're sticking around because it's not a book that is, yes, books come around, but sometimes they don't. They're a little bit more rare than you think, right? So, and Kanto 1 will probably stay in that grouping too. So,
nice.
You mentioned Descender and Magic Order. You obviously you've read Magic Order. Did you read Descender as well?
So I've read most of Descender. I haven't finished the entire thing. I did start getting Ascender in my pull list, though, knowing that eventually I will get all the issues of Descender and watch and read them. I did read the first whatever X amount of issues on Comixology, and had liked it enough that I stopped. Like I didn't buy any more to read because I was like, okay, I'm going to start collecting this run. That's kind of nice part about the indies too. If you can just get your hands on one of the books to start reading, and if you're into it, you can jump into I'll stop and be like, all right, cool. I'm going to put this run together, because you find out there's 18 issues, like 7 to Eternity.
Yeah, oh, I've never read 7 to Eternity.
I preach that book. I don't. There's something about it's Rick Remender, and it's Jerome Opena. I don't know if I'm saying his last name correctly, but the art is foolish. The story is awesome. There's only, I think they're capping it off at 18 issues. Very, very easy to collect. I have a number 1. I eventually will get it graded. Same with, and again, going back to Rick Remender, the run Low. LOW.
I have never read that either. Those are 2 that I have not read.
Very, very cool. And the art is done by Greg Ticini or Ticini. I don't know how to say his name either. And again, both those runs, it's A covers, B covers, and a couple random variants for the first issue. Very, very easy to collect. And I know I don't need to overreach on almost any of those books unless it's a rare 1 in 100 variant. Then you might have to overreach. I'm not worried about it right now. You can put the run together, no problem, right?
So you've been collecting not that long. It sounds like you like the runs.
You like to complete.
Run. How many comics are you looking at in your collection right now? I always ask this question.
Yeah, for sure. I'm pretty up to date with my CLZ. I don't know if you guys use a CLZ app or not, but
I'm too lazy.
I haven't, but I am too lazy too.
I'm too lazy. It's not gonna happen. I'm not even gonna download it.
Oh man, I got it when it first came out because it was one set price when it first came out. It was a $20, and you don't pay for it yearly. I feel like you do pay maybe.
I think it changed. I think I've heard. Someone, I think Goat said that it changed or something.
Yeah, so I got grandfathered in because I had it, but I didn't have a bunch of comics, so it was very easy to add them, and then you kind of get a little lazy. But now I've gotten really into reorganizing my collection, stuff like that, especially where I'm selling a lot now. It's very easy to if someone reaches out to me do you have this, I'm like, okay, I need to be organized about this instead of waiting till I get home and then reaching out to them. So it's very, very convenient that way. I feel like I'm at 1,200.
Okay.
Yeah. It's nothing it's not like a major collection. But my thing is that number is always changing. If I have one option, I might move 5 comics, I might move 25 comics, but then I just get bored one weekend and all of a sudden I have 25 more comics coming in. My shop will do sales all the time, where all of our back bin issues are $1 each. And there's stuff in there that's where I found the Kenyan issues and stuff. And I'll just be I don't even need these comics, but they're $1 each. Some of them I'll sell and some of them I'll keep, and it's just it's all over the place.
He's the dollar bin, 50 cent. Javi's a magician with those, man.
Dude, you never know what you can find, man.
Exactly. Well, I have found, and they'll admit it too. I've said this before. They don't try to stay up with the market. I have a really, really good shop. They know key books, and they'll have them on the back wall, and they'll be priced accordingly, which you should be. But if a book is blowing up, it's still the price that they put up there. And if they'll say all the time, search the back bins. If you find books that are super hot right now, then fucking buy it from us, because our chances are, if it's in that back bin, we've bought it from a collection and it didn't cost us anything anyway. So we're making some of a profit, and we want to see you get these books that you might not be able to afford elsewhere. We're not going to sift through them. I think that they should, but a little bit at least.
I was just about to say, Javi and Tom, how do you guys feel about that? Do you feel they're doing their job? Is that good business?
I like the idea of the fact that they don't go through every single book and trying to find the super, super key book that might be in their back bins. Again, I have benefited from it, but also, like I said, they're really good about pricing key books. And I've been, they have it separated in wall books, new books that came out, dollar books, and then they have short boxes of like, they're not good enough to go, they're not high enough price to go up on the wall, but they're in that $5 to $20 range or something like that. And I've been going through there a couple times, and I've seen this, like they'll have two of the same book, and they'll have one price at like, say like $6 and one at $12, and this $6 one is way better condition. And I'll point it out, like, guys, like, you realize what you're doing here. And they'll come over and they'll go like, well, why don't you, like, did you want to buy that one? Like, because we'll stick to that price. I'm like, no, like, I need you guys to stay open, so don't screw yourselves over here. And I've talked to them. I said, but those back issue bins, I'm raping you. I don't fucking care. Like, I'm taking over, because you're not, if you're admitting that you're not willing to do the work there, at least if you're willing to price, you're putting price stickers on these.
Yeah.
Do it right, and I've caught it a couple times, and they've come over and like, okay, great thing, I really, really appreciate it. So I try my best to work with them.
Good.
But I'm sorry, like those that Canon number 6, I found it 3 times at 3 different occasions in 3 different boxes at different times that they've just brought out from upstairs or their back room. And I've recently got a Black Hammer 1. And I've never read Black Hammer, but I got it for $1, and I know it's not a $1 book, and it looks like
not a $1 book. That's not a $1 book.
Like,
but you say it. You it's almost like you do feel a little bit of guilt because you don't want them to close. Of course not.
Well, it's very important for me for them to stay open, especially during the pandemic. But it's just for my personal life, because this is my hobby. But it's not like they're gonna. Most of the time, if I'm getting a $1 book from them, it's because it's something that's not as common. They wouldn't have known about the Canon number 6. Mm-hmm. Unless they're really paying attention to the market. Black Hammer number 1 means nothing to them. Silver Surfer Volume 1 issue 4 means a lot to them, because it's a very, very well known book. Also, I don't know if your shops are the same, but a lot of shops there's comics, but then it's Magic the Gathering, and
cards, toys.
And their focus is really, really on that. They just happen to sell comics. It feels like sometimes so. They're just like, great, man, have at it. Like, they're so good to me. Like, they're like that book on the wall. I'm like, yeah, but I don't really want to spend $100 on that book right now. Like, well, why don't we put it on in your pull, and you just chip away on it whenever you want.
Dude, they sound like an amazing shop, dude. Amazing shop.
They're so good. So it's just that little. I try to work with them, basically. You know what I mean? So.
No, that's awesome. It sounds like you're lucky. You got a really good shop, and you got a ton more there. We're at an hour and a half. It goes by fast, Thomas.
I'll go as long as you want, but no.
No, dude. We're good. It does go fast.
We got to get you on here again another time. Just comics, man.
Yeah, 100%.
But it does go fast. Yeah, sounds like Hope's. We used to have a shop like that here.
Okay. Let's see. You can find deals in the operations because.
Yeah. Some shops can't. Like, I was at a shop and the new Thor run was coming out, and I was like looking in the new section, and I found that they had put a Thor God of Thunder issue number 1 lumped up with the new Thor run that was coming out in 2019 or whatever. And I grabbed it. I took it to the shelf. It wasn't bagged and boarded, and I was gonna go check it out at the cash register. And another employee saw it, and he was like, "Oh no, that's not supposed to be there. Somebody must have put it there by accident." It's just like a lot of shops have people working there that either aren't the most familiar with what's going on in the comic book market, or just, aren't familiar with different volumes. They just kind of lump everything into one,
together.
Yeah.
A Thor book's a Thor book. You throw it with the Thors kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's an easy thing to do, man.
Yeah.
It's an easy thing to do.
Yeah, me too. Like, if I'm just digging through the black bins, if they happen to like put a book away without a bag and board, like I'll bring it up to them and stuff like that too. Like, I want to work with them. I don't want, I just,
you're not trying to steal or like screw them over.
Yeah. So, and there's a fun aspect to and maybe that's why they don't sift through everything, because they know that people just like to come in and hunt and maybe just find that one little gem that maybe they're going to get for a good price. And
How big is this shop? How big is it?
It's not crazy big. I don't know what you would really compare it to.
I mean, is it mainly comics?
It's very much Magic the Gathering. There's a lot of, they have got a couple shelves of trade paperbacks. The comics, they got the new stuff. They got the wall books. Even the back issue bins, it's not a lot, but they have I think they have a lot of storage. So like when they have their sales, they'll literally bring a bunch of boxes and just put them out on tables. So I know they have a lot of stock. I don't think they have necessarily the room for it, because like, I guess now they can have a lot more people in, and they can do the Magic the Gathering gatherings or whatever.
The tournaments and all that.
Yeah. Speaking of that, because it's not something I'm getting into or ever got into, but this week I think there is a Magic the Gathering comic that's out.
Yes, I heard that. Yeah, I've seen that.
It's like there's 3 variants, but you don't get to see which one you get if you buy it. You have to open up the bag and you find out what book you're getting.
Oh, really?
There's one variant that I want so bad.
The dragon one? The dragon one?
No, it's the I think it's a woman she's all on skulls and it's purple.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
You seen this one? Oh man, it's so nice. So I just got them to put one in my poll. Like I didn't get to go today, and he's like, "Well, we're ordering 6, and no one else pre-ordered them."
Put all 6 in my box.
No, I'm just getting the one, but I'm basically gonna go probably tomorrow. They're gonna give it to me. I'm gonna open it. If it's not the right one, I'm probably gonna buy one more and just hope for the best and just sell whatever. I don't get me wrong. I wouldn't mind reading it just to see, because if it's a cool story, great. But I don't know anything about Magic the Gathering.
I don't either. I didn't know that's how they were doing the variants and all that.
Yeah, I think they're coming out with the new video game and a movie for it. So they're trying to get the hype going on for it.
I have nothing against it. It's just I'm afraid to get into it, because it's probably fucking awesome, and then that's gonna take over my life. And I got enough comic stuff on the go. Like I can't.
Yeah, you know,
I can't do it. I can't do it because it's probably super fun. Like I can't take that right now.
What is this? The Black Lotus? That's the card, right? That's
it's the Magic the Gathering card that they don't make anymore, but it's super expensive.
Yeah, super rare.
Super rare, yeah.
And
Black Lotus.
Write that down.
Now I gotta go look and see. Keep an eye out for that. That's the thing, man. There's just so much stuff that people are collecting. It's crazy.
Very, very cool. Yeah.
Did you read Die?
Yeah. Sorry, that is the other one that I have. So I have Die #1 slabbed, and I've gotten Die since this. Basically, from I start getting into my pull list like 3 issues in. So I've got all. That's
like that's kind of like I don't know Magic the Gathering, but it kind of feels like
that's what it feels like.
Yeah,
it really does. And Seven to Eternity kind of feels like not like a Magic the Gathering, but you kind of feel, I don't know, there's some type of feel to it. I don't know what it is. Maybe like a Dungeons & Dragons. I'm not sure.
It's like
very fantasy. Yeah.
It's
done really, really well. If you ever get a chance.
Well, when Seven to Eternity first came out, that issue #1 blew up. People were going crazy for it.
Going nuts for it.
Yeah. And because they took a little bit of a break and then came back to it. But then they announced we're going to basically do 4 issues and then.
Yeah, because that's recent. That was recent that they came back, right?
Yeah. I think there's 1 more issue to come out, and then that's it. So, and it sucks because like I really, really enjoy it, but it's one of those stories where I'm like, where you could go other places with it, but you could also just close it down and still be very, very awesome. So,
did you were telling me you were saying about Saga that you're not? Did you catch up and see where they ended?
I did not. I haven't got to that point either. I heard it was quite the cliffhanger though.
Yeah, I was just talking. I was trying to sell that book on somebody was where I work. We have the trade, and I was trying to sell it. And I was like telling him, they've been on a hiatus for like 2 years, and I hope they come back because they left it on such a cliffhanger. And
he'll finish it.
I hope so, dude.
Finish it. I mean, he's probably just trying to. I don't know, but I think they'll finish it for sure eventually.
I'm trying to think. Has he been doing anything else?
I don't know what he's been doing, to be honest.
I feel like he has been doing something.
I don't know if he has.
I feel like I saw something because we're talking about Matt. Is it Matt Kent? Or who am I thinking of? Who does something?
What?
Brian K. Vaughan.
Or Brian K. Vaughan, right.
Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples?
Yeah, exactly.
On the
I don't know why I'm thinking Matt Kent out of nowhere, but yeah. I don't know what he's been doing.
I don't know. I think, you know what? I'm not sure. I got some originals, DS.
Oh, he was doing Paper Girls.
That's right, but that just ended as well. That ended last year sometime, no?
Yeah.
So he's like, maybe that's what he's doing. Maybe he's working on the new saga, hopefully, but there's like no news.
Maybe it's one of those things too, where he knew Paper Girls was gonna have an end, so he's like, well, I'll just finish this, give it all I can, and then go back to the saga and kind of give himself a refresh. So, like, especially after a successful, obviously Paper Girls has been successful, so it's kind of nice. Maybe he comes back and just just does the shit out of it, right? So,
I hope so. Yeah, dude, Saga is such a freaking great read. Some people are kind of like over it; they moved on from it. But if you go back and you read it, it's like so freaking good, dude. So freaking. Have you read that, Javi?
Which one, Saga or Paper Girls?
Saga.
I read the first volume.
Okay.
So I'm way behind, but
so good, dude.
Yeah, I want to read it. I know eventually I'll read it. I'll get to it.
Yeah,
it's cool. It's out there in the best way.
Yeah, the first volume was amazing. So yeah.
And the thing is, bro, there's some moments in that book that I turn the page on when I see the image and what's going on. It's like, what the fuck?
It's kind of like when you're drawing, it's like you're just turning to your kid and be like, hey, what do you think a fucking unicorn with a sword looks like? And then draw the opposite of that, and then that's our character. It's just like wham, like what is this thing like coming at you right now?
Dude, it's so wild. People look at it, looks all innocent, and it's so far from being innocent.
Yeah,
it's freaking. And I think that's what everybody thinks. It's what Romeo and Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
Dude, there's so much shit in Saga that is depraved. Not depraved, but it's taboo or things that aren't spoken of, and people.
It's like that. It's like your dad comes in the room and he picks it up and goes, "What the fuck is this? I'd rather you be reading like Playboys or something. What the hell is this thing?"
Oh, you don't know what's in there.
Like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
You don't know what's in there. It's the one with two real quick. Well, the thing is, I don't know if you. No, I won't say it. But hey, Thomas, thank you so much for coming on, bro. This has been awesome, dude. I've been looking forward to this a month ago when we first asked. And then this week.
Seriously, I have to. I wanted to just hang out with you guys for a while now. It's great. The problem is like with my channel, like I don't promote my channel because I never know when I can actually go and do stuff.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? It can be very hard to schedule almost anything. Like if the best I can schedule. I mean, this has been the best I could schedule because I scheduled it both. Like, we were able to schedule it both times. But like even when Ryan and I, Magic Lasso, and I go live, it's like, basically based on when I'm available. And sometimes like I'll be sitting on my slabs for a week because I'm like, I don't know when I have time. And I think for him it's a lot easier because in seeing with you guys, you're a little bit later than me too, right? So I've got these windows of when I can do it. So I'm just glad that it ended up working out, especially with the computer problems too. So
yeah.
But it worked out fine.
It worked out. So we
really did
appreciate you coming through and making the show.
No, I like you said, like I'd love to be on again, or just whatever you're doing, anything. It's just
awesome. With
me, you could probably message me, right now and be like, hey, can you come on? I'd be like, great. And then 10 minutes later, I'd be like, I gotta go. I gotta go. I'm sorry. I gotta work. What the hell,
Yeah.
We got some things planned for this show. Actually, we just got to work it out.
Oh, good.
But, so we probably will have you. We'll be inviting you back on, man.
Yes, please.
This was awesome. I learned a lot about Canada.
Yeah,
I did not know about that other time zone, man.
Yeah,
I'm still kind of weirded out with that. There's an eastern one further east than us. It's like
there's more than just America. Yes.
Look at I think it's Newfoundland. They're on the half hour or something like that. It's just upside down.
I think that's awesome, dude. I think it probably has to do with the curvature of the Earth too, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, dude. But thank you so much for coming on. You got anything you know of that's you might be going on with your channel?
No. I just put out 2 videos just because I was kind of organizing my comics. It was like, here's some recent pickups. I did the 2 runs, the Nova Volume 1, Nova Volume 4, just to kind of show them before I not put them away, but I mean, I'm organizing things. For me, I have a bunch of books with CBCS right now. I'm not a CBCS person over CGC. It's just really convenient for me because it's a lot cheaper for me the way I'm getting it done. But the new slabs look really great, so that's super convenient. So I just, whenever that stuff randomly comes back, I'm just like, great, Ryan, when are we doing this? So, and I think that I haven't talked to him about it, but I'd like to actually start, because it's kind of a thing now where we're sending AOKs and or doing unboxings with each other. It's like, why don't we start to invite other members of the community to just come on with us, right? Now that we've gotten a couple under our belt. He's everywhere now, which is fantastic because it's very much deserved.
Yeah,
he's everywhere, man.
He's the one with connections.
We got his face reveal here on Inquiring Minds.
That's right.
He hasn't been the same ever since.
Oh man, yeah. You can't keep him off of it. It's amazing. I'm like, are you live right now? All you're doing is doing dishes now. I'm just joking.
Bro.
But no, I basically anytime someone asks me, what do you have on the go? I have no idea, but you'll know when you know, basically. So my channel's perfect for watching it on the rewind because it's so random, right?
Awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome, man. Thank you so much. Javi, you got anything going on?
We got the return of the Start Me Up show coming sometime soon later this month. So stay tuned for that. And just like Comics for Thomas, just on the random schedule. If I put on a video, you just watch it, like it. Thumbs up it, leave a comment, do it for all of our videos, all of everybody that's here on the panel.
Yeah,
much appreciated.
Yeah, I'm the same, dude. I want to start doing this again every other week, but I'm kind of like a little random myself,
Yeah. I like going live now. I'm just like, let's just hit the live button. I got nothing pre-record. Even just doing those the other day, I was like, I almost just went live and been like, hey, here's some books. Look at them so I can put them away. I'm like, no, let's do a pre-record. Just get this sorted real quick. But just hit live and go.
I feel you, man. The pre-recorded, sometimes it's like, do I really want to do a pre-recorded?
Then you have a set like standard for yourself, and you might start re-recording. I'm like, screw this up live, whatever. There's something about live that just doesn't get screwed up. It just works out. I don't know.
It works out. Nobody cares, right? Nobody cares, dude. It just works out. But anyway, man, thank you so much.
Yep, thank you.
Javi, thank you. And everybody in the chat, everybody on the rewind, thank you so much for showing up, watching the video. Both these gentlemen's links are in the description, so please sub them up. And we will be back in 2 weeks with another special guest. And thank you so much, everybody, and be well.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Take care. Peace.